Our group had, I thought, was how we were able to go from a group that just was thrown together very early in the year. I think we started in February, and no one really knew who we were. We got a little bit of support. We had around 45 people beforehand, and kind of snowballed into bigger, as time progressed. And then to top it off, I thought how one of the big efforts to get some public awareness out there was working with the media in a lot of ways. And as I said, one of the bigger achievements was getting the Sheriff's Forum out there, which really brought a good perspective. It's front page coverage, and really got our name out there, so people knew we were out there, so people knew that they weren't alone if they had some conservative thoughts. So I thought that was a very good thing. And throughout the election period, I think we had a good presence in the local paper, especially the Sentinel Enterprise, and sometimes even the Telegram. So it was definitely that was probably the biggest achievement, is getting us from not really relatively no name to a major player when it comes to getting some nice events for our communities to take advantage of. So I'll move this.
I'll agree with Justin. The biggest obstacle we came across was just having people be involved. It was like the same 5 or 6 people all the time that was coming to these events, and we got 120 members. So it's really frustrating when you look at that. It's like we question, how can we get a few more people involved in our group? On our Facebook page, we have 120 members, let me clarify. We've only had a maximum of like 30 people at any of our meetings. And that became a little bit higher up towards the election day. We started gaining more members, and it just was frustrating. It's what can we do to not just have someone sit on a bar stool and say, yeah, I'm a Tea Party member. How about you get out there and show support, not just talk about it. The biggest achievements, I would say, is we were able to take advantage of having our different members be part of campaigns. And when you're at these different events and you're talking to a larger group of people, and they're surprised that there is a Tea Party in Gardner. Really? You would get all this. But we would not have had that publicity if we didn't have those members participating in those campaigns. And through that, we actually had a very nice turnout at our last meeting with a lot of wonderful open discussion on what we're going to do next.
First of all, let me say that the Knox Trail Tea Party meets in Spencer. I had lived in Spencer when I moved back from Fitchburg. I had lived up here for 18 years and then moved back home. My mom needed help. I had just moved just before the Tea Party opened, so that I started giving my allegiance to the Knox Trail Tea Party and going back home and getting involved, because there were a lot more people that I know. Now I'm involved with both. The one from my area and the one from Spencer as well. But it gives me an opportunity to be able to see different people. Obstacles, I'm sure, was, I didn't go to the very first meeting. I'm sure that it was attendance. But let me note that we had between 80 and 85 people in attendance every other week. We meet every other week, and the attendance was there. My biggest disappointment was that there were only 6 or 7 of us that would go out at 6 o'clock in the morning to be able to do the standouts. We were always the same core group that were going out there, and that was difficult, getting other people to show their faces on the outside. But the ones, like she said, the ones that did get involved with campaigns, they were helping to spread the word within the area as well, so that that the word has gotten out. You know, I found through life that the best way to advertise is word of mouth. You know, the newspaper is good, but when you have people responding to questions about a more personal level, questions about your particular meetings and what you do and what you're all about, they're not at that point going by what they read in some of the newspapers that are not very kind to us. We're crazy, we're racial, we're mad, we're all that kind of stuff. And I've heard people that were new coming to the meetings and saying, you know, this is really weird. This was very sedate and very educational, and this is not what they tell us it's about. And I'm saying, yeah, that's right, spread the word. We are positive. Right now, what we're doing to be able to continue being known is having a flag contest within our own group. We're next week, on next Tuesday, we'll be able to turn them in to the group and have a flag chosen just for our group. And I'm hoping that it's going to be a very positive experience and not spreading, you know, a negative. I mean, don't tread on me is very good, and it's getting a point out, but I also think that we need to do something more positive. I'm going to tell a secret, block your ears. I'm going to tell a secret. I have two that I'm submitting, because I have a nephew that's an artist, and I couldn't make up my mind. But he's the one that came up with this idea. We have the Liberty Bell, and it says, Mending America. And what it has is Band-Aids on the crack in the bell. and I'm very hopeful that we're going to have a good time with this. And it's going to show, again, we're not just meeting to talk business. We're going to relate to each other. Our after election brunch, whatever it was called, was excellent. I mean, there was so much food. Everybody just brought stuff, and everyone was there, and we got to talk to one another, not just sitting in an audience listening to speaking. So that was very positive. So that's our positive side.